Start. Good afternoon. I am happy to have this session for all our women employees in LabourNet. Today is the 1st of August and it's the first of the month also. So I think from that perspective also it's a good date for us to begin. Uh, Today we just want to introduce what we want to do with all our women employees. Uh, LabourNet has about 1,200 women employees, uh, and that I think is a big number that we have with us, and we are a significant majority in the organization. From that perspective, when we look at it, each one of us as women have specific problems that we would have had to face before we started a career. So our idea was we will have a series of sessions. While the first one I'll be discussing issues of leadership, we'll have different experts, and for this I would like each one of you to contribute and tell us what kinds of topics you want to cover. We thought issues of health are important. Where if you'd like to speak to a doctor, if you'd like to look at childcare, social security, improvement in your own careers, courses that you would like to take. We'd like to address each one of this. So every month we will have one session by an expert. Some may be from inside LabourNet, others from outside. So that's the purpose of this is women employees, those who are working for LabourNet as well as those who are let's say in fields like ours and are also contributing. Now I'll come straight to the topic that we plan to address today. The topic is leadership, and I was thinking to myself, what is leadership? Is leader, we think we are leaders. One is in a work context. So there, a leader is someone who obviously, as the word says, leads, which means has a team and is therefore leading, directing, leading, and guiding the team. The second form could be where I lead through thought leadership. I'm alone, but I have ideas, I have thoughts, and I express them, and therefore I'm able to lead through through my interactions and my thought. The third is and I think this is particularly true for women. Uh, in our homes, we are leaders. We lead how the house has to be run, how our children have to be brought up, what we have to cook. How do we guide the everyday lives of our families are all parts of leadership. Before we go to personal leadership qualities, I'd like to spend a minute to discuss what kind of competencies does one need to be a good leader. So if you look at it from that perspective, I think it's a fairly intuitive set of competencies one requires. So we require to definitely have the thought process to lead, the confidence to lead is very important. Uh, so when we are saying confidence, what do we mean by confidence, right? In Hindi, there's a term called Atmavishwas. If I'm confident, Atmavishwas is there, then you're able to actually say, I can lead. So, first is that. Second is self belief. Can I lead? So, oftentimes, girls, as we are brought up, actually lack self belief. We think we cannot do it. And that I think will pull us down. Yeah, the third is ability to accept mistakes. As a leader, it's very important for us to say, when have I gone wrong, and admit it, correct it, and move forward. These three competencies, I think, are the most critical attributes for a leader. Uh, Now, any leader always, as I said, oftentimes has a team, whether it's in our professional life or our personal life. Now, if we have a team, then that team has to have trust us. So, unless the team has confidence in you, it won't work as a leader. So, how do you build that confidence for a team? Uh, and and again, I'm going back to the point of saying that the people who we lead should believe in us, should believe we will stand by them. We cannot be a leader just by exerting authority. It has to be by showing the way. And I strongly believe that all great leaders, if we can, um, Sarojini Naidu, you take any leader that you can name, these leaders to admit that they will learn from their team. So, team is not only to give instructions, but it is to learn uh, and to work with the team to come up with those thoughts, those ideas, which can result in change. Now, each one of us has different ways. I'll talk about some of the things that uh, I think I have learned along the way from people who I have worked with, and I would say the team that I lead today. I think my happiest moment is when, if you have to feel motivated, then it's very very important that uh, I have the skill set to motivate you, right? So motivation comes from two three things. It comes from vision. What is the organization going to be? What is the goal that you are actually driving towards? And as I said, it doesn't have to be large goals. It could be that, this month I want to see that I want to see that 100 children are taught, can be a goal. It can be that I want to see that my desk is clean. That means every paper on my desk I have cleared, all emails cleared. I don't have any more backlog left. So everybody feels I'm on time. So there can be multiple things. So I think motivation is not towards the largest goal that is there, but it is towards the small steps that one needs to take in order for us to get the team motivated. Uh, See, there is a very important thing that one needs to look at is, as a leader, do I have to be omnipresent? That means, does everybody have to listen to me if I have to lead? I think the first answer to that would be nothing. No, absolutely not. As a leader, my as any of us, whether I am the leader or you're the leader, I think as our skill set should be to make ourselves irrelevant. The day I am irrelevant is when I know that my team leads, right? So empowering your team to feel that they can lead is equally important. No decision should rest with one person. The decision should be a decision which we take together. So the difference between a good leader and a bad leader is often that, are you able to take the team along? Are you able to motivate the team? Are you able to build a cohesiveness? That means that's a very, very important one. Now, the oftentimes, as you move up the value chain, there are issues which become on who who should lead, who should follow, who should motivate, who should learn. In my opinion, for all of us there is a leader, and for of all of us there is a team. That's why I brought the issue of our houses. At some point of our life, in our everyday life, we are leaders. At some points in our life, we are part of the team which has to listen to the leader. So I think a distinction between, if you think of the leader as somebody in orange and somebody who is in yellow as the team, the orange and the yellow are very close colors, right? They'll merge together. So I think that intersection is what we need to work towards. There are a lot of things that we do as an organization to facilitate leadership. Uh, and this, as I'm saying, is not organization as one entity. That means each team I lead is an organization. Do I make them volunteer? Do I make them feel comfortable to express ideas? I think as each one of you are leaders, you should ask yourselves this question: have I done this or not? And as women, we are very good at counting off our successes and failures. So every day, if one can actually write down, did I do this? If so, how did I do it? I think it would be very, very important. See, vision is not something a leader is supposed to lead, right? So supposed to give vision, supposed to articulate mission. Now, is vision and mission always a very complex, unreachable task? I think the answer that each one of you will yourselves answer is no. It is actually our ability to have break the vision and mission down to achievable vision and mission. Suppose we have something so high that we can't reach as a vision or a mission, then you feel very demotivated. So, at least I do it for myself. Give myself everyday tasks saying, okay, I've completed this. So it's like, okay, I can get 60 out of 100. I can get 70 out of 100. So the moment I start scoring well, my confidence comes up. So I think it's very important for us to not have impossible goals, but possible goals that you lead towards. And that, I think, if each one of us is able to give our other women colleagues and team members that skill set, we would have done a lot. As a leader, is my job to ensure obedience, or is my job to ensure creative thinking? For a minute, let's look at it like this. If everybody had creative thinking, would a team work together? I think we'd have chaos. But if I gave only instructions, would it work? I don't think that would work either, because you'll get frustrated. So, what is that in between that you need between creative thinking and to motivate one to lead, motivate the team to work? I think those are the questions we have to ask ourselves. And there's no black and white. So, there is somewhere in between where we have to say, We have to have people who are questioning us. Leaders are not God. They're not dictators. They're people who can listen to the team. They're people who understand the problems of the team. So there's this whole debate on, uh, empathy, sympathy, and caring. In my mind, empathy and caring is what will work. Sympathy will not help the team. Empathy is where I can say, okay, you know what? She can do it, she can't do it. Or why can't she do it? If she can't do it, what should I, as a caring leader, ensure that she performs? So I think those are skill sets that we have to really work towards. In my mind, every leader should to our team. Suppose you're a team leader, you're a center manager, you're a head trainer. You must be able to set a task for yourself for the today, for this week, for this month, for the year. The moment you set time aside for yourself to plan, saying, what do I want to get to? I think we would have all succeeded. Uh, Now, while I'd like each one of you to remain in LaborNet for as long as you can and work towards the mission, many of you will move to new organizations. Many of you will have a career path ahead. Your dreams, um, you know, uh, let's say the sky that you want to reach. What happens in a new position as a manager? Whether you're coming into LaborNet as a new position or you're going out into another organization, I think it is the values that you carry. The moment you move up one notch, that's the time you should come back and rethink, saying that, did I do what I wanted my leader to do? So I think a manager's function is critical to protect the team, but also critique the team and work with other managers. So I think each of those are very very important um, uh, steps that we have to take. Uh, Now, let me just step back to what we discussed as personal, right? Um, we have very, very busy lives. We have to take care of our children, our homes, our parents, in laws sometimes. Sometimes, if we're unmarried, we still have responsibilities for our homes. Anyway, whether we have a family, which is, marriage, children, or it is as a single woman, both there are responsibilities that we have. Now, these responsibilities we have to we have to excel in. By this, I don't mean we have to be superstars. We are not superstars, and I don't think we should even attempt to be superstars. Um, I can talk of 5 women who I'm terribly dependent on for my life to even run, right? There's nothing wrong in that. But managing so that each of the 5 people you depend on feel they have contributed to you is very, very important. So I think the criticality is for us to ensure that our personal lives have as much importance to us as our professional lives. We're all going to have difficult days. We're going to have times when our personal is intruding into our professional. People will say, ये औरत है, ये क्या कर सकती है? घर तो इसको संभालना है. Is she serious about her career? Our children will come back and say, did you spend time with me? Where have you actually given me time? um, you know and here I want to share. I my children constantly say this to me, ma, where were you? Where are you on my birthday? Were you there at this point of time? Did you come to my PTM? And I'm like, I'm only one person. I can be in one place. So there are times when they are of importance. There are times when my professional life has importance, right? At the end of the day, you and I are just humans who are trying to do our best. So when we are doing our best, we will falter. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing, I don't see why we should be apologetic. I've not seen a man yet complain that his personal life is intruding on his professional life. Because the expectation of us is to say, okay, we should be professionally qualified, we should be earning, and we should be great homemakers, we should be great mothers, great daughters, great daughter in laws. I mean, can you perform 5 roles perfectly? Very difficult. We're not super women or supermen. We're just normal, everyday human beings. So, as everyday human beings, I think it's very important for us to have everyday lives. So, we'll do well, we'll do badly. I think let's take the good with the bad, roll with the punches. So I'll just stop here and take each one of your questions. I think you have to call her and ask her last time what happened. While I'm waiting for your questions, I'll continue to discuss. Um, you know, this whole issue of I as a woman, am I capable, comes up all the time. So, am I capable is a reality. You're capable at what? So there is there's a whole range of issues of capability. So the issues of just check. I think you probably have to go back to the email itself.
No, she's selling it.
So I think the issue of capability is always a tough one for us to answer. Is it as a yeah, I think one of the questions which has come is, when I show my potential, my husband feels threatened. So I act dumb and not show my leadership capabilities. I think it's a very tough one. I think first and foremost, think of yourself as the leader and your husband as your team member. Very difficult team member, right? Now, if he's a very difficult team member, you have to get him on your side. My If you had asked me this question 25 years back, I'd have said take a stick and beat him up. But with age, I also feel that's not the answer. We have to live with them and we have to move forward. So I think if we take them as, just imagine him as a constantly difficult team member and then slowly lead. Leadership is not about being the front line, taking a sword and moving forward. You don't have to be that. It can be that you change his perception continuously, and that is cannot happen if you're dumb. If you act dumb, then you had it, you've actually lost your battle to changing him. So I think here it has to be intelligent. Think of it as uh, think of it as a secret warfare. So in a secret warfare you have to do things from the back end, but it has to work. So I don't know if that I've answered your question, but I think that's something that you should look at. How to be a good leader at work? That's a second question. At work, I think the most important thing is three things. Defend your team. Ensure that your team is more capable than you. A team should be more capable than the leader, is my strong belief. That means you are the least, you have the least skill set, and everybody else is more capable than you. The third, I think, very important is to build cohesiveness in the team. And the fourth is, how does your team work with another team? So the moment other teams find that there are good things that are happening, then I think it works. The other question which has come is, what are some of the good qualities that a leader should possess? I think I addressed it earlier. In my mind, the most important quality that one should have is ability to listen. A leader without listening capability is practically of no use. The second very important is build confidence of the team. If the team feels capable, then I think everything works. If the team is not feels that they are undermined, it's difficult. Someone asked, how do you manage both your professional and personal life? I don't. That's the secret. I think I don't try to, in my personal capacity, I don't try to be a superwoman. My my task, I give myself very small tasks every day. I have a larger vision, I break it down to very small ones, and I'm a very happy person. So the moment a small thing is done, I feel very happy. So the moment I'm happy, I tell myself, okay, I've scored well. So I think that's important. But having said that, on a more serious note, your profession has to be as important as your personal. Many women actually make the mistake of thinking if they say that their personal is important, people will forgive them. The world is not like that. They're still testing you. If they're testing you, they're going to test you very hard for it. So let's take a couple of things. Because the board meeting, I cannot say, you know what, I can't be there. I knew first she will survive. Nothing will happen if I'm not there. I'm not the doctor. Mine's not completely there, but I'm there. What it does is it shows commitment. Now that's an extreme situation, and each one of us don't has to take that stance. But I think those are the calls we have to take, where we have to explain to our family members that we have two lives, but we are one person. I think that's the important one. The second is how to lead small teams and train them when there are no fixed SOPs and KRIs. I bet this is somebody from within LaborNet. Um, I think I would say the define your SOPs. Why is it that the organization alone must define it? If each one of you are creative thinkers, then you need to define it. We have to co-create standard operating procedures and KRIs. Otherwise, someone will define it for us. How can you lead in an office environment? To captain but also be a friend is not easy. Yes. Um, you know, yes, as a friend, you have to be pally. As a captain, you have to impose. So they are contradictory things. But it's very important if you're a leader, you cannot be only a I think I see the name here. How can one be an entrepreneur while working at LaborNet? Is it possible? You can be an intrapreneur. That means within the organization, I think at least because you've written at LaborNet, please write to me. Tell me what is your idea. And you all know my mail ID. It's Gayathri at labornet.in. Please write and come back with saying, what's your idea? Let me then see if I can support you to be an intrapreneur. I hope that answers your question, Shan. Then there's how can a leader in disguise but be friends with the team? There's no leader in disguise. A leader is upfront. You can't be in disguise and be friends. You can be friends, friends with your team, but it's very very important for you to lead from the front. How to instill leadership qualities in my daughter? She's very shy and introverted. A leader does not have to be talkative, but has to be an introvert can be a leader. It's not necessary that only an extrovert can be a leader. But what is very important is, does she have confidence? Have you given her self belief? If you keep telling her she's shy, I think she will see that as her default mechanism and lose self confidence. Give her not to talk a lot, but It says your connection unstable. Okay. Look at it like this. Look at what are the emotional situations. Okay, let's take three situations. One situation, the person who is your boss throws a file at you and says you've done absolutely horrible work in front of everybody else. How do you address that? You're publicly humiliated. I think there it's very, very important for you to keep your cool and ask for respect. Not at that point of time, but later. The second that is very important is, for example, there's something tragic that has happened. Somebody is hurt within your team. A trainee that you're training is affected. The finger has been, let's say, damaged. How would you act? You feel like breaking down because it's because of your negligence, or it's because that person may not recover again. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sorry. It's okay to have empathy there. It's okay to break down. You don't have to be a superwoman. If men don't break down, that's their way. If it's our way to break down, so be it. I don't see why we need to hide it. I get angry, I cry. Finished. It's okay. That's who I am. That's what it is. What is the one behavior or trait that you have seen derail most leaders' careers? Um, Arrogance. I think the one behavior that derails leaders' careers is arrogance and ego. And I think I tell myself every day that the day I become more arrogant, I hope 10 of you in this organization will come back and say, you know what, Gayatri, you're doing wrong. And I think this you should do for yourselves. Have somebody who can come back and tell you, don't be arrogant, don't have an ego, come learn with me, learn from the team, and then take it forward. I hope I've addressed most of the questions that you all have asked. So as you're waiting for questions, let me continue to discuss some of these that are there. Right? Let's look at each one of you as leaders and think. I think when you go back after this session, if you can, each one of you write to me again. This is my email ID, Gayatri@labornet.in. Tell me what are those situations which derail leaders' careers. You pick a leader and say how did the career do badly. There's one more question which has come is, do you set aside specific time to cast vision to your employees and other leaders? I think I do, but I think the rest of the organization has to answer that question. And again, this I'd love to have your feedback. If you can come back to and tell me, you know what, have I set aside time for each one of you as employees of LaborNet? Uh, uh, to really discuss my vision and to see whether your vision and my vision are the same, I think I would have succeeded. So the place where I wouldn't have succeeded is where I don't do that. And my effort through this medium is to reach to you, to talk to you, to see are you on the same page as me, right? So that's very, very important. I want to go back to a couple of questions saying that can you be a friend and a leader? I think that's a very, very important question. In my mind, the answer is a no. But you can't be an enemy and a leader, but you can't be a best friend and a leader. I think that you have to distinguish because at some point it's going to be the hierarchy which is going to run. So you could ask this question: how will it work in a family? I think that's the $1 million question on how we navigate that that sphere, right? So I think that's important. Is there any person who had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? Maybe someone who has been a mentor. Yes, I had a leader. I looked up to somebody called Surina Rajan. She was my first boss. She was a person, she was not my first boss, she was my longest boss for the longest time. I think what I admired about her was her ability to lead from the front. She had a family. She had a daughter who was blind. She had her husband was in another city, and she drove it from the front. She made one of the, she's one of the best known officers that I know who took decisions which were not necessarily popular, but had transformational change. I think those are the kinds that we really need to look forward to. So for me, she was my mentor, she was my guide, and she's the person I really look up to. But having said that, I have 10 people that I look up to, right? Each for a different quality. So don't look at one person who only has to have a tremendous impact. I often think people working closely with me are the ones who really impact my life. So, somebody who fixes appointments for me is very important. Why do I need the person? Because I forget. So that's not a great skill set. So somebody has to remind you to do what you're doing. Can you imagine that? So you have to respect that person. Somebody who fixes everything. So it's not about only having front runners, but it's about respecting different people for different qualities. I'll take a break here. Effective questions make effective leaders. Do you agree? A beautiful question. Yes, effective questions make effective leaders. If you have doubts about what you're going to do, is very, very important. So, what I'm saying is, it's not doubting yourself, that is lack of confidence, but your ability to ask the right questions so your team is able to come up with answers is going to be very important to to frame you as a leader. I think that's very important. So, constantly questioning, did I do right? Did I do wrong? This is not to get doubt into your capabilities, but to strengthen your capabilities. How do a leader ensure that her organization and its activities are aligned with the core values? Very complex question, but I think a very important question, especially for us, for us at LaborNet. And here again, I really am looking forward to each one of your views, and I hope I get at least, I hope I get 100 answers to this. And I'm looking at you for answers for this. I'm going to repeat the question. How do a leader ensure that her organization and its activities are aligned with the core values? Look at what are our core values, right? As LaborNet, our core values are transparency, honesty, frugality, ensuring that we have commitment to do what we want, what we have committed to, and persistence. If these are our core values, I think the answer that each one of you as leaders and I as a leader have to see is, does anybody who is within 5 kilometers radius of us have the same core value? If we've done that, imagine how much we would have changed our neighborhood, our country. Shan again has written, ma'am, we watch a lot about many of the entrepreneurs. We hardly know anything about our CEO. Okay. Okay. What should I say? Let me tell you about what. See, I'm a very ordinary person, which is why possibly you don't hear so much, Shan. So I think thank you for the question, but mine is a fairly simple story. I want to ensure that 10 million livelihoods are changed. So for that, I took three important steps in my life. First, I lived in a village for a few years and saw whether I really could make an impact. I learned a lot from there. Second, I joined the ILO and attempted to do it with with government and policy. Third, I started LaborNet. I think these are the three, but Sharon, I'd love to answer you. If you have any question, write to me, I'll reply back to you. How I want to make a difference in the world, but because of my self confidence, I'm not able to speak up. Speak up. There's nothing which is wrong. I'd love to hear you. Whoever has written this, please write your name also and write to me, and let's understand. Let's first talk. Let's you and me talk first, right? The more we talk, and one thing I can commit, as I said, the person I'm most dependent on with me here, I'm sure she will make time for you to speak to me. Whether it's morning or night, first, if you lack self confidence, let's you and me speak. Once we speak, I'm sure you will have the confidence to take it forward. Anybody who says you want to make a difference is a person with enormous courage, right? You want to make a difference in the world means you've already thought about it. So all if confidence is what you lack, I think I feel confident that if we chat, both of us chat, we should be able to build it. What according to you is a good member? What according to you is who according to you is a good member? A good mentor is somebody. um a good mentor is somebody who doesn't want to change the person who they're interacting with, but is going to play on their strengths. For example, I may lack confidence because somebody has put me down all the time. But say I have very, very good skills to record. Uh, can you imagine? My job is as an accountant, but I actually have good skills to do video recording. Can I actually then record whatever I'm accounting and send it to the others? I think as a mentor, we have to do that. What is the difference between a leader and a manager? A manager is a function. Um, a leader is a leader has to command respect. A function, a role cannot give you that. A manager, by definition, is a leader, but a leader is not necessarily a manager. If you understand what I'm saying. And Pahadi Chora. Okay, who have nice name, but you basically said you like being a LaborNet employee. Thank you. That makes me feel happy. Archana Satpati, I think again you're saying you're proud to be an employee of LaborNet. I'm also proud to have you in my team, Archana. And I'm happy that you think, I'm inspirational. But what I'd love to hear from both of you is how do we make you inspirational? That's what I want to hear. So if you can put down, as I said, if today is not, you can't do it, happy for you to write it for me. Write a mail on the Shiro's platform, share it, whatever you wish. And then I think we'll together see how can I learn from you too. Right, Archana, you're going to change the world. Pahadi, you're going to change your world. So I think those are very, very important for us to take forward. So would love to hear from each one of you on it. Hi Gayatri, as a leader, if you find opinion of your team member clashing with yours, how do you handle it? You know what? That's the most difficult because my natural way is to say that my thought process is the best, which I think I'm consciously trying to see that I don't do. Um, you know, I consciously try to say I should listen to opinions the others. So one of the ways that I think I have done it is by seeing that in the leadership team, I have people with different competencies which are complementary to mine, which means they will always disagree with me. So I think that's the way I've tried to handle it. Banu Priya has written, leaders in professional life cannot really mentor, at least not handhold, right, ma'am? Why not? Why not? I think, Banupriya, we can. We can mentor. We should not show favoritism, but we should be able to mentor. And I think, you know, Shiros is a platform with LaborNet. Together we've launched. Let's together figure out, let's take concrete ones, Banupriya. Who do you want to mentor, or who do you want to be mentored by somebody? Please write down and send that, and let's see how to do it together. What would be your advice to aspiring entrepreneurs? Go ahead. Just be conscious of all the things that you should be. But I think it takes courage to be an entrepreneur. It takes persistence. Don't give up. An aspiring entrepreneur should not be a dreamer. Then we lost it. Should be practical, but should not expect miracles. So I think work slow, work smart, and get it forward. Leaders lead community of work, and managers properly manage to lead communities of work. Yes. Okay. Pahadi is saying, I agree with Shan. We really want to know about the story of being top powerful women of India. Okay. Uh, so let me do one thing. Uh, I think you both, if that's the story that you want to hear, and if that's going to change the way you're going to look at it, I'm going to share through Facebook, our internal Facebook page, and an email to all all our women employees. Um, what I think is my story, but I want I want a return gift from each one of you. I want you to write to me and tell me, what did you do inspirational? Why are you inspirational in your life? So, okay, Abhisuchi, how as a leader we bring change to organizations at a super fast speed when change needs nurturing and time and taking everybody along? See, this is a permanent problem, Abhisuchi. Is change has to be, see, it's like this. Nurturing is not something which can ever stop, and change is every day happening, right? So you will leave some people behind, you will take some people along. So if you can take, in my mind, 25 to 50% of your population along and slowly increase that, that's good enough for me, because the change that we are attempting to make is very large scale. So you as a person, for example, because I know you, I can say I look up to, so many of you may not know it, but she actually spent her birthday at the Samba Foundation School with mentally challenged. Who would you look up to? I would look up to her, you know. Yeah, it came to her as a thought, and she said, I want to combine my work with my personal. So, Abhisuchi, you're a leader, you're attempting change in your everyday life, you're nurturing that thought, you're asking the question, and then you're taking it along. So, that's what I would say is important. Somebody has said, how do I strike a balance between making money and doing good in the world? Very difficult question. Um, in my mind, you know, well, you don't have to sacrifice everything. None of us are Gandhis, but uh, you know, Mahatma Gandhi was able to sacrifice. Not every one of us can do it, but I think we have to have a long term vision, and then it will work. So I don't think I've answered your question well. So let me think about it, and hopefully you'll write to me and I'll answer it better. Shiny, is being strict and stubborn a negative quality that can affect leadership, or that can be a way of getting more productivity? I think it's a negative quality. You should be stubborn. Um, you can be strict, I think, but I think being stubborn is very difficult. Productivity is when you're able to, the other person feels that they are doing as much good as you. I think that's when productivity will happen. So I think those are the important ones that we're looking at. It's again a tough one between, you know, the stick and the carrot and the stick policy, but I think in my mind, to work together is how it will happen. So I think, has our time happened, or are we having more questions? 8 more minutes. So I think I have my task set, but so do all of you. What is the one behavior or trait that you have seen derail most leaders' qualities? I think I'm. Let me answer this question again. Let me answer Florence's question. I think I didn't answer it properly, right? Leaders lead community or work and manage properly. So let's look at it like this. Yes, leaders have to lead communities or work. Managers have to manage it properly, but at the same time, a manager is only task oriented. A leader is going to look at all the gaps that are there and then really bring that forward. I think that's the difference that I see between the two. uh, and as I said, one behavior which will derail our careers as leaders will be our own egos and our attitude, arrogance. I think that will bring us down. So, if we really want to succeed, I think, it's good you asked this question, and it's come second time for me. Is I also need to know when to bury my arrogance and ego. So, I think it's my homework. So, I think we probably answered most of the questions, or we're waiting for some more questions. If we're waiting for some more questions, let me then spend this time um, telling you, Archana and Archana, is that no? Bahadi and has written. You really want to know about the story. I don't think I really have such a very inspirational story. More that I think I wrote my story with my teams. I think that's really the story that I have. But what I'd love to hear from both of you is what are your stories, and what are your suggestions to have a better, um, better work-life balance. I, for one, have always believed that this whole work-life balance is overrated. It's a lovely English saying, but I don't know how to really reach that. So I think I'd really love to hear that and see how do we as women really succeed in our careers. I think that's really important to me. That each one of you who is part of LabourNet really gets there. How do I become brave with my family and our system is pulling me down? How do you become brave when your family is pulling you down and your system is pulling you down? I think here you need enormous courage, right? What is the courage that you need to stick to your conviction when you may have to actually fight for your conviction? So, in my opinion, uh, over fighting very vocally does not help. It is small ways that you can change. So let me tell you a story here. It's a very irrelevant story, but something which I've stuck by. As you see, I don't really wear a Mangal Sutra, right? And but for my father-in-law, that was very important, and I had to convince him that I don't think I needed to wear it every day. So the way I really went about it was saying that I could get robbed. And now when I think about it, I think it was a stupid statement to make. But he then said, yeah, yeah, you can get robbed. So why don't you wear something thinner? So slowly, over a year, he changed his mindset. So I think it's really it's very important that we take them. For some of you it could be harder. So whoever wrote this question, please do write to me. Let me see. I don't know if I can, but let's see if we can support you in your journey to become brave. Archana, I love to hear what you're saying. You say you got encouragement. You're a mother of two kids and managing my work life and personal life and properly. This is my courage which I got. I'm so happy about this is you. So let's celebrate Archana, right? Archana, has to Archana, you're already successful. You say you want to be successful. I think you're definitely successful. Now you have to just see that you make five other people more successful. I often think my journey through LaborNet is to have team members like you who have confidence that they are successful. So brilliant! So happy to hear about you, Archana, and I hope you continue to write to me and possibly pick up the phone and talk to me. There's somebody called Harsh Someone. She's saying absolutely valuable thoughts of organization. Again, Harsh, I'd love to have more thoughts of yours come in. Each one of you, I'm just reading some of your names where I see your names, but I think it's very important for me to really understand from you what are your thoughts, what are your challenges, and then, take forward. I want to start my career after a break because I love work, but feeling guilty till to leave my child at home. I can only say you shouldn't feel guilty. The moment you feel guilty, you've lost your battle to come back to work. And I'll tell you, as a mother, I'm also a mother of two. Of course, my children are grown up now, but they'll really pull back. They'll cry when you leave. They'll say, you're not there. You've not cooked my favorite meal. But the moment you get guilty there, children will also exploit you. So I think it's very important for you to step back and say, hey, you know what, my career is important for me, and I have to take that call. So if you have to take the call, you have to leave your child back. One thing I've often been thinking is, what as LaborNet can we do to facilitate that your children are well taken care of? Do you think that's why again and again said Shiro's is a blog? I was thinking, should we have child rearing tips out there? Are there childcare centers you feel we should tie up with? What is it? If some of you can write that, I'd be very grateful, because I've also been thinking. I often think our work atmospheres are sterile. Children somewhere, we somewhere. Is it necessary? Is there no way we can bring a child to work? I don't know from an HR perspective how it works, but I'm sure if we have 1,000 employees as women, we should answer that question, right? Others can't answer that question for us. But to start with, don't feel guilty. I think all the questions have come by. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming on to it. Next month we will have an external person who's going to come back and talk to us. And there's one more last question I'll address and stop. So Megha, you say, how does age and experience impact leadership? I think it just gives you more patience. Age and experience teaches you, shant, patience, and being calm. I think is what it does. When you're younger, you're much more impatient. But that's okay to be impatient. All of us are young, and I think it's lovely to be impatient at some point of time before cynicism sets in. So be impatient, and still build leadership skills would what will be what I tell you, Omega. So as I said, looking forward to your contributions here. Okay, so looking forward to each one of your mails, your contribution on Shiros. Please write what you each one want to as topics, and we'll try to accommodate that. Thank you so much.